welcome back to another video. Simon's Side of Football. Well, never a dull day at Spurs, is there? The last couple of days has been a bit mad, really. Nothing unusual with Spurs, though. So Tottenham have completed the signing of Mohamed Kudus for 55 million from West Ham. Good signing, good winger, inside forward, good at dribbling, takes on your players. He had the second most overtakes in last season in Europe behind Lamau. Just needs to work on his sort of end product really, in a few more goals, but under Thomas Frank I believe that will happen. You know, Thomas Frank improves players. He's done that with Bremo, Wissa, Damsgaard, so I have no complaints about the signing, and I think he will thrive under Frank really at Spurs, and I think it'll be a really good signing, and I'm excited to see him play this season. And then on Thursday evenings, it happened quite quickly actually. There was reports that Spurs were in for Gibbs-White, and they were going to talk to Forest, and then a release clause was activated of around £60 million. No one really knew about this release clause. I don't even think really the Forest fans didn't really know it, so it was quite a surprise. It was all happening really quick, and he was going down for a medical on Friday, so I think he went down to London, I guess, probably Thursday night stay. I heard the reports he was in a hotel around London, so he was going to have his medical on Friday, and then all broke out that the Nottingham Forest owner had made a complaint, or was going to make a complaint to the FA, to the Premier League, that Spurs had pretty much tapped the player up. They found out about a release clause and knew the ins and outs about it, specifics of the release clause, which were hard to know how they would know about it. So Forest felt that they sort of found out about this illegally. So Forest were fighting to try getting this transfer stopped. For me, I just think it's a bit more that the owner was all surprised, I think, at Forest that it was that Spurs had had activated the release clause, and that really he was sort of trying to fight and show the fans that we're not going to give this up without a fight. I do believe that transfer will happen. I think it'll just take a little bit longer now when all this gets sorted out, but the player has already agreed the terms at Spurs. He wants to go to Spurs. He's going to go for a medical, so I don't think really it's going to be difficult for him to go back to Nottingham Forest now. So I think both clubs have sort of said that the deal will happen. I just think Forest are not happy how the deal is going to happen, how Spurs sort of approached the player or the club or whatever you want to say, the ins and outs. I don't know, I'm not an ITK, just a few things I've read and seen. But I do believe that deal will happen. And after that, Spurs are trying to still look for a number 6. The big name they're really looking at is Adam Wharton. I think it'll be a hard deal to get done, really. If you look at Palace at the moment, they had some bad news yesterday. They've been from the Europa League and now down into the Conference League in Europe. So that may help a little bit with trying to get Wharton out of the club, because they're down from a lesser European competition than they were originally in. But the problem is, I think here, is that Guy has only got a year left at Palace, and Liverpool are looking at him, and I think Palace will do a deal. I think they want around 70 to 80 million for him, and I think he will end up there. And then also Eze has a around £68 million release clause, where I'm surprised he's still at Palace at the moment. Actually, I thought he would have gone by now, but Arsenal are sniffing around. I think there's a few other clubs who are interested, and I believe he'll probably end up going. So then, if them two are gone and Tottenham try getting Wharton, that's all three of their best players gone. I can't see that Palace will let all three of their best players go in one transfer window. So I think for Spurs to get Wharton, it will have to be a high offer. I think for them to get him out of Crystal Palace. So we'll see if that happens. But if not, there's a lot of number 6s out there which Spurs can go. Like there's Polinia, there's plenty. There's Douglas Luiz, who I think he wants to leave Juventus. So we'll see what happens there. But I believe Spurs will get a number 6. You know, they are moving differently in this transfer window, and that moves me on to the other thing I want to speak about, is that the sponsorship deal. There's a lot of rumours that there's been naming rights for the stadium. Talking about Saudi or American people putting money into Spurs. So this is good news for Spurs. Like, they reckon there's going to be more than transfer money. It's just going to be more stuff going into Spurs in that sort of way. I don't know. I don't know too much about how Spurs are moving in the transfer window, because when have they ever really gone to a club and just said, we're going to play your release clause, we want this player, and we're going to go and get it done? Spurs never act like a big club like that. Even the transfer's still on a little bit of a hold because what's happened with the Forest owner. I do believe that will get done, but things are looking good at Spurs, so we'll have to see in the next few days what happens. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next video.